Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and friends beyond the binary. It's time for the podcaster who right now is trying to figure out what watermelon sugar is. And haven't figured it out yet. But by the time you hear this, I probably still won't know. It'll be months later. Also, I'm afraid to Google it. I said it's the essence of summer. My daughter asked me what it was too. I said, don't Google it. It's the essence of summertime, probably. And this podcast is this was supposed to be like a bite-sized essence of a sleep podcast, which I think in some sense you got, because it's time for Sleep With Me podcast that puts you to sleep. And here's the ways we're able to keep this podcast free for everybody. Hey, it's Scoots. I wanted to check in with you about two things if you're a regular listener. If you're a patron, please go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/Patreon FAQ and make sure your Patreon feed, your bonus feed is set up in your podcast app of choice. If you don't know how to do that, all the instructions are over at that page. And there's a link to our support team on that page to see, I'm stuck, I can't do it. Just go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/Patreon FAQ. And then if you're not a patron and you listen to the podcast like more than 2 or 3 times a week, like more than the episodes normally come out, and you either want more amazing content to sleep to, story-only episodes, episodes with fun messages, only patrons here, maybe all intro episodes. If you love all intro episodes, $10 patrons get them every other week. But it's really like a pride in membership, I guess, because the patrons that I hear from, not only do they love the podcast, they love the idea that they're supporting the podcast that's there for them. Like they see it as a two-way street. And I appreciate that. Like about 1 out of every 50 people that are regular listeners support the show. And so that's an exclusive club, like super fans of the show. And I mean, I couldn't do it without those people. So I really, really appreciate it. So whether pride and membership appeals to you, or the real goal in the end is to have more sleepy stuff. And I'm able to do that on the Patreon. If you listen to the podcast a lot, or you listen all night long in particular, or 5 nights a week, just check out our Patreon, sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. You'll get more out of it. And so will all the other listeners, the other 98% of people listening to the show. So think about it, sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. And thanks. Hey, I don't know if you've checked out our merch store lately, but you better get over there. We got stickers. We got a boyfriend shirt. We got a lot more stuff in the works, plus all of the merch you've come to love. Stars on the rear end of those sleepy pants and plenty more. Go over to sleepwithmepodcast.com/store. That's sleepwithmepodcast.com/store. Check out our merch and let me know when you get your swag on. Let me know about it. Thanks, everybody. Hey, everybody, it's Scoots. A lot of these episodes were recorded a few months ago. So before we get to the Sleepy Supporter Zone, I just wanted to check in with you and let you know the podcast is going to be here twice a week for you on our regular Sunday, Wednesday schedule. Daytime or nighttime, whenever you need it, you could call it up if you need a break or you need some rest. But you might be out there and you might need something more. So I'm going to have links to support, and I'm going to be collecting new links and stuff. Right now, I'm going to put them in the show notes. So if you find you need to reach out somewhere for help, I'll have links to different places you could do that. And as I hear about more and more resources, I'll try to build a page or something for that. But for now, they'll be in the show notes. Because the podcast is here for you to support you and take your mind off of stuff. But if you need more support, it's out there for you. So please reach out and use those links if you need them. And if you know of any other resources, let me know. Thanks so much. All right, everybody, it's time for the Sleepy Supporter Zone. And I wanted to thank Suzanne, who bought a bunch of Brooklinen bedding from Brooklyn. And put your bees however you will like them. Or I don't even know what word I almost mispronounced there. But Suzanne got some Brooklinen bedding. Can't wait to curl up in it. And I wanted to thank Suzanne for letting me and letting Brooklinen know about it. This is the most upbeat part of the show because it's the Sleepy Supporter Zone. And where I thank you. If you want to be a part of the Sleepy Supporter Zone, you support a sponsor, tag them in a social media post, tag me, or let them know about it. So they know it works and they know it's valuable. And then I can thank you because it is valuable, really. So I can thank you here on the Sleepy Supporter Zone, like Suzanne, which is now over. Before we slow it down, though, Mystery Bard, a lot of people work very hard on this podcast. Who are they?
Chris Posty Poster Son sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes too. Carl W. the Legend also edits episodes. Kenny, Scotty, and Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the Mystery Bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at JonathanMann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support, dear Scooter, on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance to be part of Nine Vale Presents. So now on with the show.
Thanks, Mystery Bard. I'm at time to slow it down, right? I'm at Dear Scooter on Twitter and Instagram. Best place to keep in touch with the podcast and hear everything you need to know is our newsletter, sleepwithmepodcast.com/newsletter. And what do you say we get on with the show? Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake, whether it's thoughts you're thinking about, things on your mind, that you say, well, work, life, past, present, whatever's on, thoughts, thinking stuff. Feelings, physical sensations or emotions or anything else coming up for you. So thoughts, feelings, physical sensations, changes in time, temperature, schedule, routine, road bumps. Holy cow. Here's one I never, I don't think this, I always say this and then I'm usually wrong. But I don't know if speed bumps or road bumps, we'll call them, have ever come up in a podcast intro before. Now, I could be wrong. So maybe we'll come back to that because I just started to think about, I don't want to go on a super early tangent, but this is a group of people that I have not expressed my, I don't know, I guess sympathy for. That was the word I said. It's not condolences, but it could be. And here's something, maybe the rest of us, you want to talk about a practice in empathy and compassion, because you could say, well, Scoots, come on. But I say, well, any opportunity, and really to deepen our understanding of empathy and compassion is a good opportunity. So think about this. There's people that live in a home or a building or a dwelling where there's speed bumps or road bumps, which are worse than speed bumps, because a road bump is like an unofficial speed bump, I don't know, or just a bump in the road. And so road bump is probably worse. A speed bump would be at night you'd have the brake lights of people slowing down. Then you'd have the mutterings of people that, oh, you're right, I should get back to maybe I'll try to get back to this, your right brain. Good thing my left brain or my right brain, whichever brain controls that logic stuff, it just told me, you're in right at the start of an intro for a podcast. And I said, blimey, holy moly, you're right. Gosh, bagosh. So whatever's keeping you awake, it could be, if it's road bumps, you're in the right place tonight. This is a custom, by the way, this is our new customized intro just for you. And don't forget to, if you're hearing this and you live by a road bump, don't forget to become a patron tonight, because tonight's the night, if you know what I'm saying. Or the other, 800 episodes ago when I talked about this, and 800 episodes from now, and I say, you know what I've never talked about? Speed bumps. So whatever's keeping you awake, I'm going to try to take your mind off that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to create a safe place where, if I can, you feel acknowledged and respected and welcomed. I'm glad you're here. I say that, right? Because I mean it. And then what I do is I send my voice across the deep, dark night. I use lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones. Oh, so creaky. Just like Raven once upon a time was oh so Raven. No longer. Now Raven is, matriarch, I think. I was taking a nap. I saw about 4 minutes of Raven before I took a nap. Oh, another part of my brain just said, by the way, that's so Raven. It was never called oh so Raven. Really? Are you sure about that? No, even my brain's not sure about that one. But whatever is keeping me awake, I'm going to send my voice. Lulling, safe place. Creaky dulcet tones. Oh, I was going to say they're oh so creaky tonight. Pointless meanders. We've had quite a few already. Superfluous tangents, extra ahs, and ums. Pauses that are not pregnant with meaning. But pauses where you don't know what to expect. And pointless meanders, I think I said that. So here's the thing. If you're new, welcome. You're already getting a good dose of Sleep With Me podcast. I'm glad you're here. This is a podcast to take your mind off of stuff while you fall asleep. And if you're new, you might be saying, when are you going to start it? Or how are you going to do that? Or what do you mean? Or what are you talking about? Those are all not just normal reactions, very common reactions to the show. And hopefully when I say I'm glad you're here, that's it. Well, you say, well, okay, that's one for Scoots. Okay, I'll let my guard down a little bit, but believe me, buddy, I don't know what you're up to with this sleep podcast thing. And I'd say, well, I'll kind of tell you. So the podcast is here to keep you company. It's a podcast you don't need to listen to, though. You could kind of barely listen. You could listen in a fuzzy way. You can try to listen and follow along. Especially for new listeners, you can find that frustrating because it's kind of like you're like, when's it like a movie, for example? Like sometimes when I go to a movie and my story brain is too vocal, I'm like paying too much attention to the story. Like when's this story going to get started? And then I have to see the movie again to really enjoy it because they say, oh, okay, well, now I don't got to think about what twists and turns it's going to take. But this one doesn't take any. So you'd say, when's this podcast going to get started? And I'd say, well, kind of already has. Barely. Kind of barely has already started, and it'll barely keep going, but it will. So it's a podcast you barely need to listen to. That's one thing. But here's the other side of it. There's no pressure to fall asleep. I'm going to be here for about an hour to keep you company as you drift off. So you could kind of fall asleep whenever you wish or whenever it's convenient for you. And then if you can't sleep, I'm going to be here to the very end to keep you company because I make the show just as much for those of you that are waking up in the middle of the night or that can't get to sleep and just need something to listen to. Or maybe you're having a stressful day. I make the show in a complete way for everybody, even if you never hear it. I guess that's a bit, I always say paradoxical because I guess it is. It doesn't make sense. It makes sense to me in its senselessness. I don't know how to say it. I was trying too hard to make something concise there. So, podcast you don't need to listen to, and you don't need to, no pressure to fall asleep. I'm here, to be at your side as you drift off. Structurally, what to expect. A little late to tell you this, but a show is very slow developing. So it starts off with business. That's how we keep it free for everybody. So that's the first few minutes of the show. Then there's about a 12 to 18-minute portion of the show that we're in now, where I try to introduce a podcast in a direct way, and then I go off topic. That's introduction, 12 to 20 minutes or so. But it also has a dual purpose for most listeners. Now, if you become a regular listener, you could be like those 2 or 3% of people that skip ahead to the story. They just start the show at 20 minutes. Or they become a patron, they just listen to the story-only episodes that they get in their patron feed. But, when you're first listening, the whole idea of the intro, you say, well, why can't you just get to the story or get to the point? Well, I say, well, here's the thing. I'm here. My job is not exactly to be a good storyteller. You say, well, you're good. You got, at least you know that. I'd say, no, my job is to kind of ease you into bedtime at first, not to get you ready for bed. That's your job. I mean, I do that. It's about at $10,000 an hour. And I just actually hire, like I have people I work with. So I have a toothbrusher. I'm more the director. I say, okay, this is imaginary. It's an imaginary business I have. Hopefully with droids. I say, okay, BrushBot 2000, start brushing their teeth. And then I'll have BalmBot who will balm your elbows and your knees and whatever else needs balming. Calves is another nice thing to balm. But the podcast is here as you get ready for bed to ease you into bedtime, whether you're before you're in bed or as you're in bed getting comfortable. So that's kind of the dual purpose of the intro, is to introduce the new listeners. But it's the regular listeners that listen to the intros most of all, because they say, okay, this is familiar, but it's different every time. And I know it's just part of my bedtime routine. So that's the intro. Then there'll be a story, and then there'll be some thank yous. And there's some business between the intro and the story. That's just podcast structure stuff. So that's the structure show. You don't need to listen. You don't need to pay attention. And you don't even need to fall asleep. I'm here, I'm your bedtime companion, your bore friend, your bore bae, your bore cuz, your bore sib, your bore bestie. Maybe one day your best bore bestie ever. For those of you, that like tasty waves, I could be your Borbra. Or, tasty snow, whatever you call that, moguls, or powder. Oh, yeah, tasty powder. Do people say tasty powder? Oh, yes, they do, but that's people that powder donuts say that, yeah. What was I talking about at the beginning of the show, though? Because I went off creaky, oh, so raven, creaky dulcet tones. I had a big tangent I was on. I think I was even interviewing someone. It wasn't Oh So Raven, though. That's when I kind of went back. I already forgot what it was, because it was definitely a tangent, and I thought it was mildly interesting. But alas, because I said, why don't we could we look this up? So road bumps, that's what it was. So yeah, don't worry, road bump listeners, because they said that's one group of people who don't get enough attention, because you have people that live by rowdy people. You say, okay, I can sympathize with you. You live by rowdy people. Or you live by, a foghorn. Holy mackerel. That's another group of people I've never, I wouldn't mind living by a foghorn in my mind, I guess in my fantasies. I did sleep on Angel Island once, and that foghorn, it seemed pretty nice. But yeah, if you live by a speed bump or a road bump, I feel you. That's all I could say. And you say, well, how come you never dedicated a podcast to us before, Scoots? And I said, well, are you sure I didn't? I forgot, because yeah, you got your speed bumping, which could, I guess if it's regular, a lot of noise, if it's regular, or there's not any lulls, it's not too bad. But I guess you'd say, well, around 1 a.m., the traffic dies down, and then you got just the occasional road bumping. Or if you have a speed bump, yeah, you probably have the brake lights. You have people complaining about the speed bump. You have people forget about it. So I don't know if it's, they say with the internet, everything has a fan. Like everybody has there's people that really are into stuff. Are there fans of speed bumps? Other than the purpose, hey, slow it down, I get that part. But you say, a speed bump enthusiast. I guess you'd say, well, there's two kinds of speed bump enthusiasts. There's the ones that like, there's probably 3 or 4 kinds, actually more. Because you have, here's the thing, you have, maybe I should change up this episode. Maybe tonight we'll do let's just wait for the episode. We'll do a speed bump enthusiast cast instead of my neighbor Ray. Ray will be on. So tonight's episode we'll be talking about speed bump enthusiasts because there are so many different angles. Hardy har har. So we're at whatever's keeping you awake. My main message is I'm here to keep you company and take your mind off of stuff. The reason to make the show is twofold. One, I truly believe you do deserve some comfort and some sleep. And I'm happy to provide that if I can. And the other side of it is I've been there in the deep, dark night, tossing and turning, mind racing, trouble getting sleep. Yep. Trouble staying asleep. Yep. Trouble, all those. Yeah, I've had it all. And I'm not going to get into details, but I really do know what it's like. And I don't know. Yeah, I guess, like I said, I'd like to help it if I can. Now, the other side is if you're new, it doesn't work for everybody. This podcast definitely is not for everybody. And a large portion of those people already knew it, and they've already, started sending me emails. But here's the thing. Give it a few tries. I just spoke to someone that said it took they gave the show 4 or 5 tries. And then they said, holy cow, between 4 and 5, I realized I didn't have to figure this out. And since then, it's been like, I forgot who you were. Like they said at first, I was wondering who this, and then I realized I don't have to figure anything out. And then I forgot, because I fall right asleep. So I really hope the podcast can help you. If it doesn't, I have a list of other podcasts at sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you. So you could check that out. But I'm really glad you're here. I work very hard on this show because I yearn and I strive, and I really want to help you fall asleep. Thanks again for coming by. Hey, everybody, it's Scoots, and I don't know if you've been on the fence about becoming a patron, but now's the time to think about it. We got a lot of exciting stuff going on over there. But I don't know if you know the basics, or if you're a patron and you haven't set up your patron RSS feed, but whether you listen all night, you listen in the middle of the night, you listen 8 times a week, you listen 3 times a week. But our usual schedule on Patreon is like Sunday nights, you get a brand new episode early, and it's a little bit more sleep conducive because it doesn't have as many interruptions. Then on Monday and Tuesday nights, most patrons get a story-only episode, so people that just like the stories or like to listen all night. Then on Wednesday night is a brand new episode. It comes out early. And then Thursdays are normally, if you're a $10 patron, a few Thursdays a month, you get all intro episodes, brand new all intro episodes that are only available on Patreon. Sometimes there'll be another exclusive or something from our archive. And I looked recently, in the $5 patron feed, there's over 800 episodes, and there's well over 1,000 episodes available. That includes, different styles, episodes and stuff in the $10 and $20 patron feeds. So if you listen to Sleep With Me a lot, or you're a super fan, or you want to be a part of a community, I think my favorite part is, the brand new episodes that go out to patrons, they have secret patron messages at the beginning. So I guess what I'm saying is if you really enjoy the show and you want to get more out of it, you want more to sleep to, become a patron. Sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron, Patron. That's sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. Thanks, everybody. All right, hey, everybody. Welcome to Road Bump Notes, the podcast about bumps in the road and things interesting to road bump enthusiasts. I'm your host. This is our first episode. Did I say that? I'm Dreg. This is the Road Bumps podcast. I want to thank Scooter for having me on, and I'm really excited to talk to you about bumps in the road and things interesting that I believe would be interesting to road bump enthusiasts. But I've never done this before. So I thought I'd start out over at Wikipedia with kind of a history of road bumps or humps. I know if you are an enthusiast, you probably say, whoa. Let's not underclassify things here. And I would say for sure, I know I prefer humps. We may even talk about other things, but let's start with this Wikipedia article, and we'll just do some quoting and paraphrasing from it. Speed bumps or traffic thresholds are a common name for traffic calming devices. And yeah, we're here with the podcast. We'll talk about that next. Don't worry. I'm here to calm you in, like Scooter says, kind of maybe the traffic going on with you. But these particular devices use vertical deflection to slow traffic in order to improve keeping it, good for everybody. And there's other variations, the hump, the cushion, or the table, which I guess if I had notes, it'd say maybe we could think of dances for those. There was the Humpty dance, which maybe I could make sure to look up later too. And we could talk about that. Let's see, but the use of vertical deflection devices, which we could call VDDs. I guess that's another 80s hip hop song. You down with VDDs? No, I don't know what they are. Oh, vertical deflection devices. Oh, I still don't know what they are. Oh, they're like it's your speed table. Never heard of it. A speed cushion. Is that like the bus driver's seats? I don't know. Oh, I don't know what VDD is. Oh, okay. Well, it's a vertical deflection device found around the world to slow people down. And the VDDs could be sometimes controversial because people that are in a hurry, they say, well, I'm in a hurry. But there are official businesses where people are in a hurry. So you do have to think about that in your design and maybe make allotments for that. As Scooter said in the intro, it could be noisy if you live by one. And then, poorly designed ones can make it bad for everybody. They're also not good for low riders, vehicles with low clearance. Or sports cars, they say, like old Lightning McQueen, the car from that movie, or Ricky Bobby, gotta go fast. And I'd say, well, not here, on a racetrack, sure. No speed humps on a racetrack unless it's a racetrack involving that. Also, they say motorcyclists, they would probably that probably was easy for them. Bicyclists, which they can make a little cut in them for bicycles to go by, especially if they're not very visible. I would add unicycles. I'd say if you're on a unicycle, even probably I've never ridden a unicycle, but I would say that. According to Wikipedia, speed bumps cost between $50 and $200, but I don't necessarily. We'll look up those numbers in just a bit. So hold on to hold your horses. That's what a speed bump would say, proverbially, to a vehicle. And it would say hold your horses, meaning proverbially, which usually means slow down, not stop. Though sometimes it does mean stop, like if you're moving around quickly in a house in front of someone that wants you to slow down. So that's just a little bit about it. But let's cover more composition. Well, they can be made from a variety of materials. Now, normally you'd say, okay, concrete or asphalt. And I'd say, yes. They also say plastic, metal. I'd say metal. I've seen a speed stopper, which is different. I don't know if I've seen a metal speed bump. I've seen ones that have metal vulcanized rubber. Now, it does say there's several trade-offs. Traditionally, most VDDs, vertical deflection devices, are constructed from asphalt or concrete. It's durable, rigid. They're more permanent and more effective, according to this article. And anyone that's ever tried to make one, at home, like in a driveway or a snowbank or other places, not, only where, not in a public area. I've only tried to make them where that in a private area, they can be very difficult to shape. Even the ones I made from snow, which you would also call jumps for sledding, a lot of times the sled would just go through it and not over it. And I said, well, I guess it's too steep or poorly designed. And I said, well, maybe that's why I would one day make a podcast for speed hump enthusiasts and not, the speed hump engineering cast. Because those engineering schools, well, anyway, let's just move on. We don't need to talk about their high standards because I hold the work of engineers in high esteem. Okay, so those could be difficult to shape, as I said. But rubberized products, they can be pre-shaped and made to fit any standard. Now, preformed rubber is usually bolted down, so it's easier to remove. You could use it temporarily as you're designing and testing out to see if it would work. Now, this is one I did not think of. Bolted down products could also be removed or relocated in the wintertime. I did not even think about that until just now. But that would be legitimate. Oh, not only because of snowplows bumping them, but because they'd be hidden under the snow. Wow, what a world we live in. Finally, I would like to write a book, though. Snowplows and speed humps, or speed humps and snowplows. A collection of poetry. Oh, there you are, lying in the road, waiting. That would be the start of one of my poems. I wasn't, sorry, I don't know if you, welcome to, what's the name of the show? I forgot. Speed Humps, Speed Hump Notes. The podcast for people interested in speed humps and I forgot, for speed, I don't think any speed humps would listen to this, or speed bumps, or speed cushions. Which one would be the best for a superhero? I think speed cushion, speed table, because you say speed hump, well, that would be handy. You say, well, yeah, I carry stuff around, or, yes, I've designed myself like if a camel and a cheetah. So I'm very fast, but I can hold, I hold water and, I can transport people. You see, that would be it wouldn't be a kind of superhero you would read about in comics, but you would probably read about them in books of, say, oh boy, did that save me time. Moving with speed, we really go the speed limit, but speed humps, we move you where you're going. Also free water. And we give you a ride. Speed humps. I'm a superhero, but, the only thing I could do is run a moving company. Great. And you say, well, at least you're not speed table. They'd say, hurry up, I need a card table over here. Your cousins are coming over. And you say, well, can't you just, call speed table to do it? Speed table. When you need a table in a hurry, call speed table. And maybe it would be like someone that, I don't know if they'd become a table or they'd just have a utility belt with tables on it. That would be hard. You probably need speed hump. Maybe they'd make a good pair. Speed bump, you'd say, well, that's just life. Some people call it the school of hard knocks. I call it, like a bump in, the road bumps. Maybe the road bumps could be a backing band for someone, though. Charlotte and the road bumps. Okay, back to Wikipedia. Sorry, I went on a little tangent there. Anything's interesting to speed bump enthusiasts. So that's me. So, the nice thing about those is they're removable in the wintertime. Though I can't imagine that has to be a lot of work putting them, monitoring them. I wonder when the first digital speed bump will be. That would be a digital speed bump. I don't know what that, like a digital speed bump could be something like, for children's devices. Say, well, we'll slow down. We're going to slow, or I don't know. It sounds like it becomes something that could be useful. You'd say you're just getting that too much. You got too many browser tabs open. Welcome to my digital speed bump. And you say, well, that's how I keep track of everything that I need to look up or read later. Okay, so what about the history of speed bumps? In 1906, the New York Times reported that Chatham, New Jersey, tried to raise their crosswalks or planned to. And that might be the first speed bump to slow automobiles down, because the average top speed was around 30 miles an hour, which is just too darn fast. Then Arthur Holly Compton, who was a physicist, won the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1927 for changes in electromagnetic theory, invented the traffic control bumps, TCBs. You thought it stood for the country's best yogurt, but you take off the Y and you say, why? Slow it down. That's why. So I can enjoy my ice cream cone here on the side of the road. That's what Arthur Holly Compton said, because in 1953, Compton began designs on it because people were going too fast at Washington University in St. Louis, where he was chancellor. In 1973, there was a comprehensive report from the British Transport and Road Research Laboratory, which examined vehicle behavior for a large variety of bump geometries. At the time, speed humps were not permitted on public roads, but had been installed on private ones. And then according to a publication by the Institute of Transport Engineers, the first speed bump in Europe was built in 1970 in the Netherlands. And now our Wikipedia article covers some different things. Speed bumps, also known as a sleeping policeman in British English, Maltese English, and Caribbean English, a judder bar in New Zealand, lying down, is a bump in the roadway with heights from 76 to 102 millimeters. For those of us in the U.S., that's 3 to 4 inches. Traverse distance of the speed bump is typically less than 0.30 meters, 1 foot, contrasting with speed humps, which are wider and have a traverse distance of 3 to 4.3 meters, which is 10 to 14 feet. Now, they vary in length, but it's typical to have space between the bump and the edge of an enclosed road or curbs, gutters, to allow for drainage, and maybe space on either side for vehicles that officially are in a hurry for a good reason. Now, there are disadvantages, according to Wikipedia. Modesto, California, put out a fact sheet with the following disadvantages. Slowing down vehicles official in a hurry may make people go on other streets that might be residential, possibly noisy for people that live adjacent to the bumps. The English town of Eastleigh says, vehicles, it can mess them up, noisy. What about trucks? Required signs, lighting, and lines may be visually intrusive. Can cause discomfort for drivers and passengers. What about buses? That's a good point. I'd say slow down, in my opinion. Other sources say they can be distracting. They can use up more fuel per mile. They're a compromise. Why can't you do more actively? That thumping and revving. Let's see what else. Sweden said, bus drivers don't like it, and they would rather avoid those streets. And The maximum acceptable speed is 10 kilometers an hour on one street for drivers encountering 150 humps in a day. There's more about it, but I want to move on. This one sounds interesting. Dynamic speed bumps. Those differ from conventional speed bumps. And they only activate if a vehicle's going above a certain speed. Traveling below this speed you'll never even feel it. How do they work? The ActiBump system. The old ActiBump system is used in Sweden. Powered equipment integrated into the road surface. Wow. Operates a platform lowered a few centimeters below the surface. The platform's lowered when a vehicle approaches. Any vehicles that's going under the speed limit will pass. And I guess if you're not, then it gets in your way. Smart bumps. Would you prefer an ActiBump or a smart bump? And I'd say, well, I actually use both. That's why I have such a glowing look. Because I know I'm driving at a reasonable pace. The smart bump system is successfully used in several places using a mechanical speed bump built in the road that raises only for speeding vehicles. Slow drivers within the speed limit don't even notice it. The system measures them using sensors. ActiBump uses radar. In another design, rubber housing is a pressure relief valve that determines the speed of the vehicle. Valve opens and the bump deflates, I guess if you're going at the set speed, but it remains closed if you're going too fast. And if you're officially in a hurry, they can make adjustments for that. The use of intelligent speed bumps, I guess these would be digital speed bumps. And they could be, what is that, not digital, what's the other word? I don't know, but, they could have run on that other thing. What's the non-digital one called? But I don't know. Yeah, but it doesn't just benefit drivers, also reduces the side effects of traditional speed bumps, also benefits the makers of digital speed bumps. Now, what about a speed hump? You might have heard of the greatest hero ever to carry water and equipment, or you may have been called a speed hump by someone that didn't actually know how you say, whoa, boy, got you there. And you say, what do you mean? You mean I don't understand. Is that you're supposed to be insulting, calling me a speed hump? That's one of the greatest heroes that never got attention, even though they were really useful. But yeah, the speed hump, road hump, undulation, or speed ramp is a rounded traffic calming device used to reduce the vehicle's speed and volume. Speed humps are placed across the road to slow traffic and also often installed in a series of humps to prevent cars from speeding before and after. Ooh, look at this. Shapes could be parabolic, circular, and sinusoidal. Ooh, boy, sinusoidal. Never even heard that word before. It's like a sine wave, S-I-N-E, sine wave, or sinusoid. Mathematical curve that describes a smooth periodic oscillation. Isn't that nice? We learned something. Sinusoidal, maybe it's pronounced so. We've talked about their traverse distances of 3.7 to 4.3 meters. They usually span the width of the road. The heights could be 76 to 102 millimeters. That's 3 to 4 inches. The traverse distance and height determines the speed. Shorter traverse lengths and greater heights slow cars more drastically. When placed in a series, 110 to 107 meters apart, humps will reduce the 85th percentile speeds by 13 to 16 kilometers an hour. Motorists should have warnings. You should have maximized visibility and a tapered edge near the curb for drainage. They're used in locations where low speeds are desired and suitable. residential roads, not main roads, though, or bus routes. Generally in the middle of the block. They limit vehicle speeds to about 15 to 20 miles an hour at the hump and 25 to 30 between humps. Which day is hump day? Is that Wednesday? Every day is speed hump day, Wednesday. What else? 13% reduction, 18% reduction in traffic volume. That's probably not good. That means people are avoiding it. Here's interesting comparison to speed bumps. They're less aggressive than speed bumps at low speeds. Humps are often used on streets. Say, who are you calling a hump? I'm a VDD, vehicle deflection device, or whatever that was, DVD. Oh, that's a digital video disc. The narrow traverse distance of speed bumps often allows vehicles to pass over them, depending on if they have a good suspension or not at better speeds. But the long slopes of speed humps are less, they create a greater vertical deflection at high speeds. Now, they do have problems. If you're officially in a hurry, they slow you down, so you can't have them everywhere. On primary official routes, use a speed cushion or something else. Maybe an increase in traffic noise, especially from braking and acceleration. Snowplows can bump them. And people in bigger vehicles, aka Americans, they say they have to slow down too much. And sometimes you could put bicycle cuts in them or have them go a different route. Next up is speed cushions, which is a different type of hump. They try to get rid of the negative impacts on official vehicle, times. Speed cushions are small humps installed across the width of the road with spaces in between them. Normal cars slow down, but vehicles with wider axles can go right over them. But some official vehicles that are in Sprinter vans, they still have to slow down because their axles aren't wide enough. They have several distinct advantages over traffic calming devices. Because many people said that, we're in a hurry. Also buses, these are better for buses. It's because sometimes the buses will get stuck, and they're less costly, but most cities say they're just as effective. Let's see, use in Northern America and Europe. Speed cushions have been focused primarily in Europe. Consumer vehicles in Europe are smaller than in America, and they're better suited for those. They have a narrower track or width. But, in North America, they got their vehicles big, so it might not be as suitable. Now, I don't even know what a speed table is. It's a flat top hump or raised pedestrian crossing, just like the first speed bump in Chatham, New Jersey, I think. Speed tables are generally long enough for the entire wheelbase of a vehicle to rest on top. That allows cars to pass without slowing as significantly. But they slow cars less, so they're often used on roads with residential speed limits. And a lot of times they're designed as pedestrian crossings, a.k.a. zebra crossings, or in Australia, wombat crossing. Or they may be at junctions, mini roundabouts, typical speeds 32 to 48 kilometers an hour. And it looks like they did it help. They're effective at calming traffic where speed limit needs to be maintained rather than slowing down cars significantly. And they have been shown to work, although not as responsive to vehicles officially in a hurry, like speed cushions. They do cause less of a delay than humps and are preferred by official vehicles. In the UK, purpose of traffic calming, road humps, round top ones, speed tables, speed cushions, and then rumble strips. Those are used more in rural areas or retail parks because of the noise. And let's see, some places they're against them, so they say get rid of that. It's we're in her. There's two sides to every story. Let's look at prices. This is at Reliance-Foundry.com. Oh no, this is an article. Reliance Foundry, making people places people want to be. And this is an article about humps versus bumps. And it was published in November 16th, 2017. And they say, hey, trying to figure out how to slow people down. You got humps, which are also called undulations or speed humps or road humps, used for 10 to 15 mile an hour speed zones, where local streets or connector roads where traffic needs to flow smoothly, but you don't want people going fast. Speed hump often creates a gentle rocking sensation in a car passing over it. A different profile. Now, bumps are aggressive traffic calming, more aggressive. And they say where pedestrians and cars share space closely, parking lots, driveways. They can reduce traffic up to 2 to 10 miles an hour, 2 to 4 inches high. Most of this is about the same. Let's try to find the pricing. I think I did some research here. And this is at the trafficsafetystore.com. They've been delivering safety fast, ironically enough, since 2002. And on this page, it says today's speed bumps are not what they used to be because they have, molded ones. Let's look at speed humps first because they seem a little bit, sorry, I should have read more there. I didn't see this. It said, thanks to advancements in recycling, they can use used tires or recycled milk jugs and make them into a solid speed bump that outlasts asphalt, less noise, no painting, easy install, and you get a lead credit. And they talk about, official vehicles. You could do a split hump, a speed cushion, right size speed hump for cyclists. But for people with other types of mobility, you also have to think about that. You could also put in a split speed bump. These are good in parking lots. Now, you might be trying to decide between rubber and plastic. They say, what's the difference? Well, you have recycled plastic or recycled rubber. Both are highly durable and provide the exact same calming benefits. Few differences, though. Recycled rubber, it contains cat eye reflectors for maximum visibility at night. Excellent performance in heat. It won't curl or misshape. And you can get heavy-duty versions. Plastic has a lifetime anti-breakage guarantee. It's a high-visibility yellow for daytime. Excellent performance in the extreme cold. And economical and lightweight. So, let's start to look at pricing on speed humps for starters. Now, there's a sale on a couple of these. First, we'll have the heavy-duty rubber speed hump middle section. And those ones are, if you're just buying one, $100. Now, that's the middle section. Now, the end kit, which is the other two pieces, is $142 for the kit. So you're talking about $250 for a speed hump, because the middle sections are sold. Yeah, but they also have a sale. That's for the heavy-duty one. For the rubber hump, it's on sale currently for $80.75 and could ship tomorrow. It comes with free mounting hardware. 6 fasteners. So that's $80.75 plus. Also on sale are the end kits for $111.95. So about $200 you're looking at for a rubber speed hump kit. Looks pretty nice. Now, what about speed bumps? They do have a variety of ones available. They have a recycled rubber, a 6-inch recycled rubber. That one is $136.95. They have a 4-inch rubber, 12 inches wide, 2.2 inches tall. That's $108.25. They also have a heavy-duty rubber speed bump on sale. 6-inch is going for $128.50. And then some end caps for your speed bumps for that finished professional look are on sale for $19.45. And I think that's just one. Those are the 12-inch. There's also other ones. Oh, that's Hot Hardware, which it comes with. You can get galvanized steel, lag and anchor for concrete or asphalt, concrete bolts, or galvanized steel for gravel or dirt. So those are interesting. I wonder what else they sell over here. Let's just take a look. Cones, vests, parking stops, loop delineators, jersey barriers, signs, parking helpers. How much does this jersey barrier go for? I don't have a podcast about jersey barriers, but jersey style barriers are 42 inches tall, 72 inches long, 24 inches wide, and you fill them with water. It will weigh 1,655 pounds when filled with water. And they're about $310. And right now they're 15% off. And just in case you want a loop delineator, who wouldn't? I say I got some loops to do. Looper tubes. They come in orange, yellow, green, white, black, and light blue. And they're only about $13 for an 8-pound base weight with no reflective collar. If you want reflective collars, that'll bump the price up to $16.75. And custom lettering, double-sided. Let's see how much that affects the price. It gets you up to $20.25. So, that's another option. So that's the pricing. I guess I would like to read more about some other traffic calming measures. Just because, what I'm a fan of, it doesn't make everything, it doesn't mean everything. So traffic calming is, what's using things to slow things down for pedestrians and cyclists. And also people that are just going too darn fast. And this has been in development since the 1930s with the idea, hey, let's make it calm, right? Especially for through traffic, and also reduces noise and things in the air. For a lot of the 1900s, they were interested in making things going as fast. But then there was a livable streets study by Donald Appleyard in 1981. And the traffic engineers talk about 3 E's of traffic calming: engineering, education, enforcement. They also call it, like calming. So they say, geez, making you pay more attention is one part of the engineering. Say slow down or make you stop for a second. Like bus bulbs, which are great. And, making it a little bit, it doesn't always have to be comfortable for people in a hurry. There's also curb extensions, living streets, a shared space. Hilden in Germany has a rate of 24% of trips being on two wheels due to their traffic calming in 20 mile per hour zones. In 1999, Netherlands had over 6,000 Woonreven, where cyclists and pedestrians got top priority. And everybody said you could go at the walking speed, even if you're in four wheels. Now, some people say, you know what, I don't like, some people, everybody has a different view, and we're all trying to do our best, and sometimes it can stir a lot up. But they try to make visual changes to make people pay more attention, slow it down. As we talked about cushions, tables, and humps. What else do we have? Narrowing of lanes, curb extensions, bulb outs, road diets, taking a lane off of the road, pedestrian refuges, refuge, small islands in the middle of the street, reducing the width, converting one-way streets to two-way to get people to slow down. Dips instead of bumps. They use those in the Netherlands, or double dips in cycleways. Changing the material or texture, going from brick or to cobblestone or polymer cement overlay. Rumble strips, chicanes, 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 horizontal deflection that causes vehicles to slow down, just like if they were turning. And then in Berkeley has a lot where it's like you can't go. There's not a lot of through streets. They say, hey, just take the main road. Don't try to go on a side street and save time. So Europe's been successful. They have living streets, home zones, or woonurfs in the Dutch. Like they said, there's been a lot of cities where they said pedestrians come first. And right where we are, there's been a lot of things going forth in Oakland and San Francisco and Alameda with bulb outs and bollards and bicycle lanes, rumble strips we've seen even. And in Japan, they're also working on it. Cochrane Review of Studies said they've been demonstrating the efficacy of calming measures. And in this one, there's a lot of nice pictures of median islands, curb extensions, diverters, cushions, and more. So that's interesting, too. Now, all this discussion, as I said, did remind me of the song, The Humpty Dance, which a lot of you may have not heard. It's a song from 1990. So, is that 30 years ago? Wow, January 20th, 1990. Is that 30 years? I guess so. It's a song by the Digital Underground. It did get to 11 on the pop charts and number 7 on the R&B charts and number 1 on Billboard Rap Singles chart. It's sung by Shock G's alter ego, Humpty Hump. And the second musical appearance, the first was Do What You Like. And the song's been sampled by many artists and producers, and in the video, young Tupac is visible in the background. In 2008, it was ranked as number 30 on VH1's 100 Greatest Songs of Hip Hop, and number 65 on 100 Greatest Songs in the 90s. I mean, I think it's like a song you could think about. What was life like at the end of the 80s and the beginning of the 90s? And if you watch the video, you'd say, what's going on with those people? The composition of the song, this is all from Wikipedia, by the way, is a drum track, a sample from Sing a Simple Song by Sly and the Family Song in a form of a 1 measure long drum loop, Sly and the Family Stone. In a 1 measure drum loop. Then there's a deep tonal kick drum, 2 bass notes, and a hand clap, a snare, a sample from a theme from the Black Hole from Parliament. There's drum machine hi-hats running continuously throughout, programmed to 8th notes, a guitar hit happening once every bar, all in a familiar pattern that goes along with that thing. The vocal sample is also in the chorus is from Parliament's Let's Play House from their 1980 album. And it's kind of like a comedy. The video is a comedy song. But it's also kind of a protest against uniformity. It may be a bit problematic, the song as well. But, the line is, I'm about to ruin the image and the style that you're used to. But there's also the Humpty Dance, which is a loose, easy dance, and anyone can do it, versus precision dances like the ones, as a contrast to MC Hammer. And the song ends with an invitation to people of all races to join in the dance. The Humpty Dance is your chance to do the hump. I think it is how it goes. Second is single by this alter ego, Humpty Hump, who wears Groucho glasses, very colorful clothes, even had a fictional autobiography. So that's fun. And again, it was... Weird Al covered the song Polka Your Eyes Out. It was in the movie, one of the Charlie's Angels reboots. That was in Weird Al's album from 1992. It's also in the karaoke video game Get On the Mic. The song was sampled by Justin Timberlake and Jimmy Fallon. Also by the Spice Girls. According to this, the Humpty Dance is one of the most sampled songs recorded by hip-hop artists, boasting 100 usages in other songs. By 1993, less than 3 years after its release, it had already been sampled in 20 songs using their drum track. And, they gave out the Humpty Dance Awards. More artists have sampled it. WC and the Mad Circle, Cam, Paris, Redman, Will Smith, Tech Nine, Public Enemy, Sade. Who else that we want to? Just trying to think anybody else. After you have Sade, TLC. LL Cool J, Spice Girls, Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, Ice Cube, TLC again. Let's see who else we have. Ice Cube, Jay-Z, Oaktowns 357, Heavy D, Shaquille O'Neal even. Wow, interesting. So I guess that's probably a good way to close it out. It's just like thinking about the Humpty Dance in some sense is a dance we could all do when we slow it down and just enjoy ourselves. Thanks for having me on, Scooter. I may have just ended my entire podcast in just one episode, but I'm proud to do it. Good night. This has been Speed Bump Notes, things interesting to speed bump enthusiasts and about speed bumps. Good night. All right, I want to thank everybody that reviewed the show on Apple Podcasts recently. I want to thank DMS, who said great, okay symbol. Half the time I fell asleep in the first 5 minutes. I don't remember anything. And sometimes I listen to a whole episode and then fall asleep. They don't, they're still getting used to it, so I don't know if they like the intro yet, but yeah, they're still getting used to it. But thank you, DMS. Comfort and sleep. This is from Cenobite from Canada, who I know just became a patron because I recognize the name. Comfort and sleep, more than any other insomnia solution. Sleep in the podcast blends rambling, well-told stories, professional soothing storyteller, and a level of care to steer you through the deep, dark night in ways you didn't know you needed. This is the first sleep aid I've used, but it's the best. Thanks, Scoots. Kiwi Matt from New Zealand says, love you, Scoots. The podcast is wonderful. Really does feel like a dear friend. Comes across a lovely soul, genuine. Podcast really helps drift off. Also listen to the day because I enjoy it so much. Keep up the amazing work. They're from Wellington. Then just want to talk to my friend. They say, love this podcast. Not much else to say. It works so well. I've only heard one full episode. And that was due to stress. Other times I barely make it past the patron info. Sometimes I try to listen to a story, but I never make it. Donut Whisperer. Wow, my favorite kind of whisperer, the Donut Whisperer. Sleep With Me was the first sleep podcast I tried. I've always been out by the intro. A few others have tried and realized how I really like how all the intros are, and I don't have to stay awake. Keep doing it, Scoots. Akira's Human says, geez, best podcast ever. I got insomnia. I've had medicine. Still slept not great. Discovered Sleep With Me. Wake up headache free. I haven't even finished Apple at my core. Also, they're 10. Wow. So it's really touching that I can help you. Thanks, Kira. Then Nick did not like the podcast and didn't like anything about it, and neither did Team Gopher. A team of gophers dislikes the podcast. They said it was awful. Punky Brister instead of is it Punky Brewster? Was that Punky Brewster's name? Or was it something else Brewster? I don't remember. But they say, can't think of my own thoughts. So listening helps, it keeps me from overthinking. There's not enough room in my head for anxiety and Sleep With Me. It takes a break from the rumination, and I can focus on the creaky, dulcet tones. And then finally, Feather Cactus from Australia. So good. Been listening for a few years. Helped me so many nights. Always have trouble with the circular thoughts. Podcast helps give me enough brain energy. It keeps my brain, I can't even read right now, giving my brain enough to grab onto that I can let go. Friendly voice makes tossing and turning less unpleasant. And it is strange and idiosyncratic, but I like it. But they see how other people might not like it. So thanks everybody who reviewed the show over on Apple Podcasts. You could check out if you can review the show. There's also Podchasers, another place you could review the show. Sleep With Me exists a free podcast for people that support the show, buy the merch, support the sponsor. So thank you, everybody that does that. And then we grow by people spreading the word. And I want to spread the word about some Night Vale Presents shows right about now.